Okay, so I reached out to Dan because we're being censored aggressively in Canada. We're using VPNs, we're doing everything, but this is how bad it is. So during COVID, parts of Canada are pushing to put masks back on in Ontario. They're fighting, the mayors right now are fighting to put masks back on, kids and everyone else. The mask mandate, just so you're aware, just got lifted a couple weeks ago. We just got the right to go back to grocery stores, restaurants, and do all of these things without vax paperwork. So the vax passports were in up until this point. You couldn't leave the country. You still can't. You can't leave the country if you don't have a vax passport. You can't get on a plane within the country. You can't get on a bus in the country. You can't go into a restaurant in the country. And the fact that we can't leave is a major issue. Like, that's in our Charter of Rights. They're encroaching on multiple parts of the Charter of Rights. The individual who wrote the Charter of Rights in '89 is suing the government. There's massive amount of lawsuits, human rights violations going on up here. And now, as of February this year, the new bill C-11 has come in, which covers censorship over social media, the airwaves. Instagram and Facebook now have to pay CBC for them to run their ads. It's state run now. It's state run media, and they actually have affected things like our Instagram so aggressively we're about to lose it. They've said we are full of hate speech and all of these things, and we're mental health advocates. So if you don't toe the line, this is what happens. They're crippling businesses in Canada that don't agree. There's other veteran companies that have had to shut down in the past couple of weeks because they've basically stopped traffic to go for, like, going to our websites. We can't get news, like, we can't get it out. We can't push anything out right now. So Canada's, I don't care what anyone says. They want to say that this is right and acceptable. It's not. They're breaking the Charter of Rights in at least 5 different sections. That's not me complaining. That's the reality. The protests, if you donated more than $20, your bank account was seized, which they used the Wartime Act. I mean, you guys talked about all of this before, but it's really fucking bad if you own a business in Canada and you don't toe the line.
Well, it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to actually have people there. So let's start with you in this case with the vaccinations and stuff. Are you vaccinated?
I don't talk about that. I'm able to cross the border, so it looks I am vaccinated, apparently.
Okay. If you cross the border and leave, do you need to show paperwork to get back in then?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. I mean, like, it seems ridiculous, but sports teams that play in Toronto are not.
Right. Like Kyrie Irving and those guys. Yeah.
Rogan canceled a bunch of stuff up here because you have to be vaccinated to do anything. You literally have to be vaccinated to go to a restaurant. That stopped this the Friday that just passed. But we were the last province in Canada to do that. The thing is, they've also made it so pretty much no one up here has taken their masks off. Like, they've got Canada so fearful. Like, it's terrifying how fearful this country is. They really believe that the rest of the world is acting like this. We're the only country on this entire planet that the individuals cannot leave freely right now. And we're supposed to be a first world country. I mean, you've seen how Trudeau has been received when he's gone over to do any sort of, was it the United Nations that booed him and had 3 other individuals stand up? Yeah. Dan, you would know that more than I would.
I believe people are just...
They called him a dictator.
Yeah, a couple of people did that. I think the Chilean guy did, and then somebody just got up and walked out. Yeah, he's a cunt. Everybody knows that. He's also Fidel Castro's son.
He's also running. And it's not just him though. It's the NDP.
Bob, pull up the Fidel Castro fucking Justin Trudeau thing. We're going to talk about it.
We actually did a show about this jokingly, and then once the photos were pulled up,
there's like a good one where there's a picture of his. There we go. That's so. Put that up on screen, and I'll describe what we're seeing. So on the right, the woman looking lovingly at the child. That's Justin Trudeau's mother, and on the left, obviously, baby Trudeau, and then in the middle, you may recognize Fidel fucking Castro. Now, the word on the street is from the intelligence community is that Fidel Castro had been plowing his mom for a while.
Okay.
Right, and then show the side by side picture of them. We'll find that one as well. It's very good. There's one in particular that's really good.
Of Castro and Trudeau?
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
I mean, it's
terrifying because the thing is, the guy's been running the country for this long. He's going till 2025. He's got plans to run with the NDP again. He runs the country like a dictatorship, and it's state-run media. So we're there. We're genuinely, it's a problem. It's as bad as it gets for a first world nation that's supposed to be a democracy to be in. It's concerning. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything, but Canada is bad and people don't realize it. For God's sakes, our government helped murder thousands of babies, and you haven't heard you guys don't even know about it.
You're talking
about finding mass graves.
The indigenous people?
Yes.
I've done a show on that.
Yeah, Dan has actually done a show on that. So let me ask you this, just because I'm not familiar with.
Pull that picture up right quick, just for the audience to see. Oops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's really fucking identical, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Not just like
terrifying.
It's super weird.
That's a nice thing right there.
That's the same family.
Nice thing right there.
I wanted to ask you this because I'm forgive me, I'm unfamiliar with Canadian government. What is stopping you guys from voting him out? Or does Canada not work like that? Is it?
So we can call elections differently. Dan probably knows more about my government than I do, but all I do, I'm very aware of is, so last year during the pullout of Afghanistan, which you guys were very aware of, Canada was on a media blackout. So the media in Canada did not talk about it. There was no acknowledgement of it. I got a call from CBC on the Tuesday before the 27th, before the date. And we were working to assist some Canadians in getting out of the country because Canada had decided they weren't going to send anyone for the people we left. We're just like, fuck it, to stand down. So we did that. And Trudeau called a snap election, which you can do. So he called a snap election during the week of the Afghan pullout. And when the CBC called us to talk about, because if you've done press as a veteran up there, they call certain people to talk about, as you guys do, you go on other shows to talk about things on the media. Mm-hmm. And they said, we want to talk to Afghan veterans and talk about how angry they are. So they basically want to gaslight the fuck out of you on media. And so I said, this is why I'm angry, because I was in the middle of not sleeping and helping move humans. So I was exhausted. So they got the full weight of how I really felt about the Afghan pullout. And she called me back the next day and said the interview has been canceled because we have been instructed by the current administration to only cover the election, and we are having a media blackout on anything Afghan related. And this is from a CBC journalist. We also found out they only had 2 people processing all of the Canadian documents of individuals reaching out from Afghanistan to get help. We were able to, because of Americans and British who assisted us move some high value individuals, only because somebody asked for our help, and we had a little bit of resources. But we do know that they've left a ton of Canadians, like they've left a ton of Americans. But he called a snap election last year. And then through, I think it was over the past couple of weeks, Dan, you might know about this, the NDP and the Liberal Party partnered up, which makes our government, I think, basically one party. And now we're trying to vote. I mean, he called a Jewish member of cabinet a Nazi during, I mean, fuck's sakes, he's gone blackface, he's done brownface. What is happening? How is this individual supposed to be standing up and representing and calling Canadians, who were the most mixed race group I've ever seen during protests, including children, terrorists? This guy, if anybody else spoke like this to its citizens, would be taken out.
Yeah,
it's
bizarre.
Not right.
I mean, you're on the slide out of republic status at this point. So typically, you'll see this when there's you'll see some kind of revolution, whatever it happens to be, and then a political establishment develops, and then as things get worse and worse, and one party gets too much control, you'll see what's called a controlled opposition, which is basically the minority party, and they let them get away with a lot of stuff, but ultimately they don't really have any power. And then the last stage is to consolidate all political power under one thing, right? And that's where they are now. It's what Germany did with the chancellorship in the 1930s. And I don't remember what happened after that, but
yeah,
it's probably worked out fine.
Why do you think everybody ignores this? Just because it's Canada and like the common stereotype?
People
is
can't
everybody's friendly?
People can't believe it.
It's the same stuff.
Honestly,
I agree. I think it's got to be that,
when you
right?
hear about the federal government of a Western country freezing assets for people that donated to a political protest, that is Banana Republic dictator bullshit. Like
but
that,
it doesn't seem real. It just doesn't seem real. Especially
you know
out
what?
of
It
Canada.
got crazy. Yeah, last year. Was it 19? So COVID kind of popped up in March of 2020. So right before that, I was in China in January, and we were seeing this stuff kind of go off, and we were looking around, and they, you know what China's like, where it's already serious control and issues. And so when we came back, I remember watching the media going, this is gonna go off. And I remember saying to my family, because there was talk at that time of saying like borders are closing, right? In Canada, we're closing the borders. And I thought to myself, I'm like, they'll close the borders, but like that's the furthest they can go, like without a revolt. And I remember saying to my husband, like, they're gonna close the borders, but like they're like, do you ever think they would do something like a passport? And I was like, I remember saying, no, there's no chance. There's no way Canadians would stand for that. There's no way. But then when I watched the media progress from 2020 of January to now and seeing how they've done it, it is like looking at a playbook. It is the fear-based mentality where they have made individuals so terrified. Like you guys in the States have Fox and CNN. You have each party. We have one. And it always just sits there and counts the deaths, the horrific, and they shove it down people's throats. And they do it so much that all of a sudden it's such a slow drip. And then all of a sudden, by the time they go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make it so that 5-year-olds have to wear masks. We're going to make it so that kids under the age of 5 have to be vaccinated with an experimental vaccine. By the time they go to do that, it's over. Look at the way they reacted with the protest, man. Most Canadians who were in Ottawa opposed it. It was the everyday people. It was the individuals who were losing businesses and losing families and losing everything. We brought our kids to the protest. We had bouncy castles. We legitimately were the most peaceful protest you have ever seen. You guys can't go 24 hours without shit burning down. We were out there for 5 weeks honking horns. Like that's the worst you got from us. And we were deemed as terrorists. And then they came and gassed people and trampled people and made it okay. And then out of nowhere, before Rebel News popped it off, I get a private message from someone saying, look at this WhatsApp chat. I look at it, I call a friend and he goes, yeah, I just leaked that. It is a WhatsApp chat of the RCMP bragging about stomping people. It's got badge numbers. They're bragging and talking about their jackboots and save them for us. Like, what country that is supposed to be up there with the rest of them acts like this and then thinks it's okay to treat its human beings like this? The fact that anybody's on board with this, this is why I'm being banned from social media right now. This is why I'm being silenced. I've told Dan this is why, because I will stand there and I'll fight for this country. And that's why I'm still in it. I'm only in it because I don't want to lose it. And if we all bailed, if everyone who had a voice bailed in Canada, we would lose it. I mean, we've already lost our schools. They've I've told Dan, they've taught the SOGI program since 2018, sexual orientation and gender identification from kindergarten and up in Canada. They started in Ontario. They teach it now in British Columbia. And when you bring it up, the teachers look at you like you've lost your mind. So trust me, we've lost rights. We're losing everything. Canada needs to be fucking shook.